Uh, Hello students, again welcome you all for the fourth PPT of a module number 1. As the continued of part of a module number 1, that is the introduction to the SIM and automation. Now the continued part of a automated production lines and assembly system we are going to be learn here. Now workstation breakdown analysis. There are two important approaches we are going to be study here. One is the upper bound approach, another one is the lower bound approach. Now, what do you mean by upper bound approach? What do you mean by lower bound approach? We will discuss one by one. What do you mean by upper bound approach? See, in the upper bound approach, we assume that the work part is not going to be removed from the workstation during the breakdown. Try to understand. In the upper bound approach, we assume that the work part is not going to be removed from the workstation during the breakdown. It means that the breakdown has been done or work down has done not at all of a work that is a work part. It is not a fault of a work part. There may be other reasons for the breakdown of a machine. There may be insufficient electricity, there may be mechanical problems in the machine, there may be a tool may get worn out, there may be any maintenance problem. Due to these different reasons, the machine may get breakdown. For these reasons, it is not necessary to remove the work part from the workstation. Got the idea? Upper bound approach means whenever there is a breakdown occurs in the industry, we are assuming that work part is not going to be removed from the workstation. It means that the breakdown may happen with any other reasons. It may be electrical problem, it may be a mechanical failure, it may be a tool may get blunt, or it may be any dashing has been done, it may be any tool adjustments, or it may be any maintenance problem. So with all these reasons, there is no related with the work part. There is no damage to the work part. So we are assuming that we are not going to be remove the work part from the machine, and this approach is known as the upper bound approach. With the upper bound approach, we are getting the total time required for the repair of that workstation when we are assuming that the component is not going to be removed from the workstation. Got the idea? In the upper bound approach, we are assuming that the work part is not going to be removed from the workstation even though there is a breakdown, but we are not removing the work part from the workstation because the breakdown may be happen with some other reasons. It may be a mechanical failure, it may be a electrical failure, it may be a maintenance problem, it may be a tool get blunt, it may be a automatic tool changer is not working properly. So these reasons with these reasons the breakdown is going to be happen. There is no related with the workpiece. Now workpiece has not any problem, so we are not removing the workpiece from the workstation, and this type of analysis is known as a upper bound approach. So with the upper bound approach, we are going to be estimate the total time required to repair the workstation when the workpiece is not removed from the workstation. That is known as a upper bound approach. Now coming to the lower bound approach. In the lower bound approach, we are assuming that the workpiece is going to be removed from the workstation because of some problem regarding the workpiece. The breakdown is going to be happen with some breakdown is happen with the problem regarding with the workpiece. The workpiece may be very tough material, the workpiece may be very soft material, the depth of cut may be given very high. So with these problems are related to the workpiece, and due to which the breakdown is going to be happen. Now in the lower bound approach, we are assuming that the workpiece is going to be removed, it is going to be removed from the workstation because the workstation get breakdown only with the aid of a workpiece. We are assuming that the workpiece has got very tough material so that it is not going to be machining very systematically, or it is a very soft material so that unwanted material, maximum unwanted material is going to be removed with the help of a tools, or it may be some other problems related to the workpiece. If the problems are related to the workpiece, we are assuming that we are removing the work material from the workstation, and that type of approach is known as a lower bound approach. Okay. Next, partial automation. What do you mean by partial automation? See here, automation is nothing but what I told. Automation is nothing but it is the integration of the different traditional engineering fields like electrical, mechanical, computer science, electronics, right? So sometimes it is not possible to make the entire factory as automated. Sometimes it is not possible to make entire company as the automated. There may be many reasons. The reason number one is it may be too costly. Reason number two is we are not requiring all the machines as automated, because some parts are going to be manufactured with the traditional machines. Got the idea? Therefore, partial automation is nothing but only the parts, some parts of an industry are going to be automated. For example, if in the industry there are 10 machines are there and 6 traditional machines are there and 4 automated machines are there, now it is not possible to make all the machines are automation, right? Therefore, the partial automation is nothing but giving the only some machines as a automation. So some of the components are going to be made with the traditional machines, and those components which are not provided with the traditional machines, that are going to be made in the CNC machines. So only the 2 to 3 machines are going to be automated, and that type of system is known as a partial automation. Got the idea? What is the partial automation? So it is not possible to make the entire factory as a automated. It may be leads to a maximum cost. Therefore, only the 2 to 3 machines are going to be automated as per the requirements, and this type of a system is known as a partial automation. So the analysis of partial automation is nothing but it is given by TP is equal to TC plus summation of PI into TD, where TP or TC is nothing but we are discussed in the last PPT cycle time, and average production time is nothing but TP. Average downtime is nothing but TD. So with this we can achieve this average production time for the partially automated system. Now coming to the buffer storage. See, there are 3 types of buffer storages are used in the automated manufacturing system. Buffer between workstations. See here, this is the workstation number 1, this is the workstation number 2, and in between we are providing the buffer storage. What I told about the buffer storage, it is the temporary storage. So work part which are produced in the workstation number 1 are going to be stored in the buffer storage, and that parts are going to be transferred to the workstation number 2. Got the idea? If the workstation get breakdown here, so parts which are stored in the buffer storage are transferred to the workstation 2, and there is no stoppage in the workstation automated flow line, and the workstation is until the workstation is going to be repaired. Workstation 1 is going to be repaired. The parts which are stored in the this buffer storage are going to be fed into the workstation number 2. That is buffer between workstations. So here the 2 workstations are there. Let us consider the CNC machine is there. Here it is the VNC machine is there. It is known as the upstream. It is known as the downstream. In between the buffer is going to be made. So components which are processed in the first workstation are going to be stored in a buffer, and whenever there is a breakdown in the workstation number 1, the stored components are continuously fed into the workstation number 2, and the process continues. The line is going to be continuous until it is going to be repaired. Now second one is buffer from multiple lines to single line. Now in the automated manufacturing system, it is possible to connect the different or multiple lines into a single line. Multiple lines into a single line. But the condition is that all these multiple lines should produce the same component. Got the idea? All these multiple lines should produce the same component. So let us consider here the line number 1, the line number 2, the line manufacturing line number 1, manufacturing line number 2, manufacturing line number 3. all these three lines are producing the same component. Now all the components are going to be stored into this buffer storage, and it is transported into the line number 4. Now where exactly this type of buffer from multiple lines are going to be used? Where the cycle time of the multiple lines, the cycle time of a multiple lines are very less. When the cycle time of a multiple lines are very less, so number of components are produced in the line number 1, line number 2 very fast, so it cannot be fed directly to the line number 4 because of the number of lines are more here. There we are going to be use the storage buffer. Got the idea? This type of system is used where the upstream number of the components are producing more. The cycle time is very less here. When the cycle time is very less, the number of components are produced in a large quantity, that should be stored into a buffer, and eventually the components are fed to a line number 4, and the process is going to be carried out. Third one is buffer from single line to multiple line. So in automated system, it is also possible to connect the single line into a multiple line, and this type of buffer is going to be used when the cycle time of a downstream system system is very small. The cycle time of a downstream system. Here what happened? The cycle time is very less here. It needs the continuous work parts. Therefore, the 3 lines are used in the up station. So number of components are used here, and continuously is going to be fed. But in this condition, if the in the upstream, the cycle time is very less. For every 1 minute the component is going to be produced. Then it is going to be stored in a buffer storage and transferred to the multiple lines on the downstream. So these are the 3 different types of storage system, buffer storage. Automated assembly system. So automated assembly system is nothing but the number of components are going to be manufactured, and these are going to be assembled. Here in the automated assembly system, it consisting of the part transfer system, inspection system, production system, so that finally the number of subdivisions are going to be assembled to create a component. Let us consider you are going to be manufacture a engine. So in the different machines, the components required sub-assemblies, engine block, and then piston heads. So number of components are going to be produced. Finally the engine is the outcome. So that is nothing but the automated assembly system. So automated assembly system should be considered when the following conditions are exist. Where automated assembly system we are going to be used. One is a high product demand. Suppose the product demand in the market is very high, there we are going to be use the automated assembly system. Stable product design, there is no any changes in the design, there we are going to use the automated assembly system. Limited number of components in the assembly line. If the components are less in the final component, there we are going to use the automated assembly system. And finally the product is designed for the automated assembly. Automated assembly system, as I told you, work part produced are smaller in size compared to the transfer line, because the small components are going to be used to assemble to make a final product. Therefore the component size is very small here. Assembly operations do not have large mechanical forces and power requirements. Of course, when the operations are going to be performed, the mechanical forces and power requirements are required more. But in the assembly operations, only you are joining the different sub-assemblies. So there is no need of a maximum mechanical power or a maximum mechanical forces or power requirements are required. Size is very less as compared to the transfer line. Of course, the size of this automated assembly line is very less as compared to the transfer line. Okay. So this completes the module number 1. So if you have any doubts, feel free to ask. Thank you.